The book that I picked for my second book talk is Night by Elie Wiesel, and I recommend it for 7th grade. I think it would work best in a middle school setting, and it is a multicultural book because it deals with discrimination against Jewish people, and it comes from a Jewish account. Elie Wiesel is the author and narrator, and he narrates a personal account of what happened to him in the concentration camps during World War II. He tells the story of how he and his family travel through the concentration camps. They start off being relocated to a smaller ghetto than the one that they initially live in by Hungarian police, and they are forced into cattle cars and transported over several days to a gateway camp to Auschwitz, which is the biggest and worst concentration camp that there was at this time. Over the course of time in the camps, Elie is subject to terrible conditions of living and work and torture, and he is forced to give up all of his possessions, including a golden tooth that he had that they took out of his mouth using a spoon. He and his father are separated from their family very early on, and I never see them again. And they're both forced to watch other prisoners be tortured and killed, and to work in slave-like labor, and basically to do whatever they're told without wondering or worrying about the consequences, just doing it if they're told to do it. Over time, Elie and his father watch prisoners lose their faith and humanity while they try to survive and save themselves. And Elie does everything he can over that time to save his father and himself. But his father does eventually die. But Elie does make it out and is able to write this account of what happened to him in the concentration camps and discuss how he sort of made friends with some of the different people at the camps, how he was affected by some of them, and how he survived to do whatever he could to save himself and his father. He and his father are the main characters of the novel. I think that they're really the two people that are very important in this book. The setting is in the ghettos and concentration camps of World War II, in this time when the Jewish people were all subject to being forced into these camps. The theme I struggled with initially, but I think that it would be to have courage and to use that courage to stay strong through any situation, in this case through the concentration camps, and you can get through it. I liked the novel because I feel this situation has many themes that can relate to even things that we go through today: discrimination against other cultures, losing your faith in yourself, in your God, in your humanity, losing your faith in general. I think that a lot of these things can relate to students and they can bring it back and relate it to today. Also, it's interdisciplinary because it's a historical account, and they can compare it to research that they find from World War II, and it's a different way to be exposed to the time period. For the passage that I selected to read, I have death, which was settling in all around me, silently, gently. It would seize upon a sleeping person, steal into him, and devour him bit by bit. I think that this short passage suggests this. There is very strong imagery and personification in here that sort of helps Elie get his point across that this was a terrible, terrible time, and I think it's an interesting way to look at the time period, and it's more interesting than just reading about it in a history book. But I think that says why this book can be so beneficial. I recommend it for 7th grade, and for anyone who would want to read it, just because it's a really, really good read. But for teachers, I think they could use a lot of the literary devices in here for the lit class. They could use the historical stuff for interdisciplinary studying. They could use it as a personal account, compare it to anything researched. I think that this is a great book for middle school to get them writing, to get them reading about history, and it's just a very good read with a lot of important and good themes involved.